What is up, you wonderful, outstanding, beautiful people? My name is Adam. Welcome to the Sizzlin NFL DFS podcast. It's been a long day. I might be a little bit tired. Joined by the FF Toilet Ninja, aka Charlie. Charlie, how's it going?
Oh man, it's going good. Yeah, I'm ready to dig into some football this weekend. I've had a crazy week, so it'll be nice to get back to some sports.
This is going to be a ton of fun. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to go over 4 games that we really like here as I just pump out some stuff here on the social gimmicks. So there we go. All right. So in case people are wondering what the heck is going on with your background, Adam, why is there a random Q? That would be for these folks right here, Qmistry. They are a Counter-Strike team in Europe that I do Counter-Strike casting for. So supporting them and have their background on there. So we're here to talk about some fantasy football. And Charlie, I'm going to take my big freaking L from last week on that stupid late slate that broke everything. If you didn't have part of that late slate, you were done. What was it? It was the Rams in San Francisco. I had zero. I had maybe sprinkles of certain players. I nailed a lot of the 1 o'clock games. Boy, did I miss on that other game. I didn't see it going that high. I didn't see Kyren Williams happening. Even though all indications was Kyron's been McVay's guy.
Yeah, apparently. And you know what? That he may be a good play anytime that they've got a good matchup against a defense. Because that wasn't a terrible defense to go against either. So
no, and the Rams put up points.
Bright future. Yeah.
The Rams put up points. Puka's a thing. Tutu's a thing. I don't know if Puka's going to be a thing. So here's the thing. This is going to be an unpopular opinion. I think Tutu's safer than Puka when Kupp comes back.
You think so? I see.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, positioning wise, I get it, but talent wise, I mean, I don't know. If he continues to do that, he does this for 4 games straight. How do you keep him off the field? That's the thing. How do you
be on the field?
Him
Kupp's gonna soak up the targets.
2 and Kupp 1.
Right, but Kupp will continue to soak up the targets. Tutu will be on the outside, and I just think Kupp's going to eat into Puka's targets, and I think Tutu's going to do his speedy thing on the outside. But again, I've honestly yet to watch one of the games. I can just assume Tutu's playing outside and Puka's playing the slot. And what has happened to Tyler Higbee? But anyway, I'm not going down that route. I had Tyler Higbee in quite a few places in season long, and I just thought if it wasn't for Puka, I would have assumed, Higbee would have taken the Kupp role and just feasted on targets over the middle. But Puka's apparently doing that. So I did an emergency podcast. I wouldn't call it an emergency. I did a podcast on Tuesday because of the Nick Chubb injury. And the Kyren Williams breakout. And Nico Collins apparently being a thing. I'm proud to say I was on quite a few of these people in my preseason rankings and shot up my boards. Because Collins was a maybe target of mine, but by the time I got down there, I had wide receivers pretty much set based on how I was drafting. Oh, and by the way, if people are looking confused, I've got DraftKings over here on this monitor with my camera, and I've got StreamYard over here, so I can actually have an intelligent conversation, not with DraftKings, but with Charlie over in this monitor. So that's why you all see me looking over here. But we take this back into week 3. The Rams, thank goodness, are not on the slate because no Puka for us. That would be a tough decision. The toughest decision on this slate is going to be the game I want to talk about first. We're going to go into yours first, but my first game is obviously the biggest freaking chalk of the week, and that's the Chargers at Minnesota. The problem is, and I heard Al Zeidenfeld talk about this, and a lot of people are going to say the same thing. DraftKings made it very difficult in terms of pricing to get to that game.
Yes, they did.
And that's the problem. But DraftKings makes it that difficult, we're going to have to get different. Let's get into your first game, and let's just hammer right into this, because last week we went off the rails. Hopefully everyone watched my waiver wire show, getting back to that stuff, because Kyron Williams, Jerome Ford, who we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to tell you right now, fade him, and I will be continuing to scream this from the freaking rooftops. We don't play running backs against the Titans. Let me say this for the people in back. We don't play running backs against the Titans. Okay, now that I've gotten in people's faces right in the camera.
Definitely play wide receivers against them, though.
Oh, you play tons of wide receivers. If the coach goes out there to run a play against that secondary, you play the coach.
Probably
you play anyone against that pass funnel. Right. You cannot run against that defense. They are the best run defense in the NFL, in my opinion. Period. So, Jerome Ford, truth is, put him on your bench.
Now, do not put him on your bench for 3 weeks. Go ahead, stash him. Use whoever you had on your bench for your third RB in that spot, okay? Because he's not going to be hot, and you want to see what Hunt's going to do anyhow.
Yep.
Coach talk is just coach talk. Hunt been there for 4 years. Come on.
And as soon as that injury happened, I'm like, Hunt's getting a phone call. Hunt's going to come back in that backfield.
But if you spend 90% of your fab, shame.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I wasn't wasting that kind of money. Like
I'm sad about losing Chubb. I had a lot of Chubb.
So my wife, who's now just making fun of me in the background, she's just back here. You can't see her. She wants to play all the running backs against the Titans. She does not care about football, and now she's just trolling me, which is totally fine.
Watch her do it and win the million.
Hey, that listen, it goes in both of our pockets. I don't care. Anyway, in all seriousness, we need to talk about
Atlanta, again, Detroit.
Well, but before we get this, it's something I want to do on the podcast at the very least to start for the first, several minutes is what did we do right last week, and what did we get wrong last week? What we have to continue to evolve our process, right? Like we saw Squirrel Patrol from Roto Grinders smash and win the DK Millie Maker on Monday night, and I'm looking at that lineup going, you faded Chubb. You faded the best play on the slate. I understand why. No one could have predicted a Chubb injury. Nobody.
Oh, man.
And that sucks because
ugly.
I actually was more curious as to what the injury looked like. I went back and found it, and I can still picture it in my head. It's gruesome.
Oh, it's
terrible. The human
terrible.
body should not go like that. Should not bend like that. It looked gruesome. There are some people talking about this as a possible career ender.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, this is the same knee at Georgia. Go Dogs. This is the same knee that he hurt at Georgia. And
the Georgia Eagles, you mean in the NFL, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably one of the best defenses here. They're going to get a couple more of them this year, and the transition will be
the Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles were just going to. Yeah, we're going to rename them the Georgia Eagles. Anyway,
but no, man, it's the same knee, and he tore all 3 of those ligaments in college. He came back. It's hard to imagine, even with everything in science in the medical field today, it's hard to imagine coming back from that twice. And I saw the freeze frame of that, and oh, man. It's just I wonder. I told my wife, I said, hey, I was like, honey, that guy Chubb that I like that played for the Dogs. He plays for the Browns. She's from Cleveland. She's not a Browns fan. But I told him, I said, I don't know if he's ever going to play again.
Yeah.
Afterwards, at the end, that's what I told her. It's just like, man, and I hate it for him. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah, I mean, he was, in my opinion, on a Hall of Fame career.
Oh, yeah.
He was he became one of the most dominant. I wouldn't say one of the most dominant. Like, he's not a Calvin Johnson. He's not one of these, like, elite running backs. But the dude has become so consistent, so important for Cleveland, and everything he did for the running back position. He just became solid and great year in and year out. It's the same thing like with Mike Evans. He has only done over 1,000 receiving yards every single year he's been in the league. Does not get the respect he deserves. purely if he would end his career now, he's a Hall of Famer. You just look at the stats. You look at what he's done. He's won a Super Bowl. He's helped the team win a Super Bowl. Almost get back to another one. Like Evans has been an absolute stud. Chubb, the same thing. I wish him well.
Yeah.
I really hope he can come back to play in the NFL at some point in his career. But man,
I do too, man.
That was brutal. All that to say, and I'll get into this later when we get into our pick'em section. I'm not playing Jerome Ford this week, even though I think he's going to be the primary running back. Hunt's going to take some time to get acclimated. We're going to get into the Cam Akers to Minnesota when we get to that game. Already came out today from the coach that expect him to be inactive. He's been there. He's too short of a time. Expect him to be inactive this week as we get, as he gets acclimated. This is your last chance to play Alexander Madison.
See, this is the thing. Okay, now I like Alexander Madison for this one reason. This has got prove it game all over it. If he wants to keep his spot, he's going to have to come out on Sunday, and he's got to do it. He's going to have to come out and do the damn thing, or he is going to lose his starting spot. And he knows it, dude.
He didn't do anything.
I mean, he may have already lost it, but in his mind, this might be his last chance. And I tend to think that athletes, a lot of times, good athletes, they step it up when the pressure's on. So I think that this may be actually a pretty sneaky week to play him.
That is true. All right, so let's get into this. We have a lot to get into. There are a lot of good games this week. All right, talk to us about your first game. Where are we going? Atlanta at Detroit?
Okay. Yeah, I want to preface this, though, just a little bit. Like, yeah, I've got a couple of games to hammer, and I like 3 guys, really, from each game. But I think that this week, your lineups really are going to be more of a smattering of, different guys from all over the place because there's a lot of crazy good deals and there's a lot of crazy weather and stuff, and all of that falls into play every Sunday, of course. But Atlanta, Detroit, I like Atlanta, Detroit. If you are going to pay up for a running back this week, I think it should be Bijan. DraftKings, he's 7,800.
Preach, brother.
I like him. I think that this is going to be his like, woohoo, yeah, there he is kind of game possibly. So yep. I really like that. And on the other side of the ball at 6,600, I love Gibbs. He's going to do a lot of work. He's going to get a lot of opportunity. Y'all know I love opportunity. And I think that he's going to make something happen with it. He's a spry little dude. He's going to get out there. He's got some talent. And I think we're going to see something really cool. And it's going to translate into fantasy points. It's going to be a really good idea at 6,600 to have him in your lineup. And then, as always, my son and I, of course, love ASB. If I think as far as wide receivers go, and again, keep in mind, there's a lot of crazy weather stuff going on this weekend. So for wide receivers, if you're going to pay up for one, I do not think that Amon-Ra St. Brown is a bad choice. There may be one that's better, but he's not a bad choice. He's 7,900, so you're not going to put him with JJ or anything like that. But no, I like all 3 of those guys. I think they all have the potential to have really, really good games. Keep an eye on ASB. He's a little banged up, but the dude's a beast. He always seems to come through. So
let's just get into it. Let's get the weather situations out of the way first. Indy at Baltimore is the biggest be careful of the week. This is all from Kevin Roth over on RotoGrinders. It's all free. So you can go to rotogrinders.com/weather/NFL and you can see all of Kevin Roth's stuff. He does a great job. Indy at Baltimore, he has listed as a yellow. Wind sustained 10 to 15 miles an hour, gusts over 20. Scattered showers, especially pregame and early game, potentially clearing late. This is where that tropical storm that is supposed to be coming in is going to be on Sunday.
Tropical cyclone 16. Just to clarify, that's where we're at. Speaking of that, let me throw.
It hasn't been named yet.
No, apparently not. It's tropical. It's because it's a cyclone. It's not a hurricane. It's tropical cyclone 16. But
it's weird. It's post-tropical.
I hope that everybody else this week got a good laugh out of the fact that Hurricane Nigel, like one of the most English named hurricanes we've ever named, headed straight towards Ireland. Just want to throw that out there.
Thank you.
My wife and I, we laughed about that at dinner for probably 10 minutes.
Thank you, FF weather person. My gosh. Oh, for what it's worth, I can let you up on a.
Myself.
No, it's fine. I mean, I can let you in a little tidbit. I wanted to be a meteorologist when I was in college.
Nice. See, that would be cool, man.
Hurricanes are my specialty. I love this stuff. Anyway, so please keep an eye out for that. There is a lot of weather situations. I'm not going to get into it all here on the podcast. But again, just know there are about a half a dozen games that Roth has listed as a yellow. If there's going to be a lot of showers, that is really going to be something to keep in mind for this week. Now, with that being said, ARSB is dealing with a toe injury. He's a full practice. He's still good to go. The biggest question mark is Josh Reynolds at 4,200. This dude has quietly been feasting. What do I mean by that? 7 targets in week 1 against Kansas City. It was Thursday night. It was the actual kickoff to the 2023 NFL season. 7 targets, 4 receptions. Last week, 6 targets, 5 receptions, and 2 touchdowns on 66 receiving yards. Week 1 was 80. Josh Reynolds is involved in the offense, and he's only $4,200. Have been dealing with a groin injury, but a full practice on Friday. Be on the lookout for inactives at 11:30. If he's a surprise inactive, Khalif Raymond and Marvin Jones are going to be the beneficiaries, in my opinion. And then there's Antoine Green, who I don't think is going to really do anything. I was just curious as I saw something news. He's out of the concussion protocol. So just keep that in mind. If Josh Reynolds plays, you play him. He's too cheap.
It's a really good price. And if for some reason Amon-Ra doesn't play, then you really got to play him. Because he's going to get a ton of targets.
Isn't St. Brown dealing with a turf toe injury?
It's like something like a dislocated toe or so, something like that. But
still no fun, especially when you have to run on it.
Yeah, but I mean, they seem to think that he's going to be good to go.
And that's fine.
You never know with toes, though. He's still a beast.
Yep.
He'll play through the pain.
I'm not worried about it. Atlanta side of things, I think I'm keeping it to Bijan and a little bit of Algier. I mean, I had a lot of Algier last week. I had a lot of Rashard White, a lot of James Cook, a lot of these other players, Zach Moss that smashed. Man, I just thought that, Bijan bursted onto the scene in such a big way. Bijan at 7,800. He's going to be a tough spend up, but if you're not going to be playing Justin Jefferson for whatever reason, Bijan is probably a good spend up this week. Now, let's talk about Jahmyr Gibbs because, look, I'm a fan of Gibbs. There are a lot of people that think that Craig Reynolds is going to be involved. Craig Reynolds is 4,400. They elevated Zonovan Knight from the practice squad. Montgomery's listed as doubtful. He's out. He's not playing. Just list him as out. He's not coming back right now. What do we do with this backfield? Because Gibbs has not seen anywhere near the volume. You should, by common sense, say, hello, Campbell, but make with the playing Gibbs 20-plus runs. He's not going to do that. Does that mean we're going to see Craig Reynolds at 4,400 smash the slate?
No. This is going to be Gibbs' chance. This is his shot right here. He's going to be the RB1 for Detroit in this game. They'll sprinkle some other guys in maybe a little bit, but this is going to be, let's see you do it, kid, kind of a deal. And I think he's going to get out there and do it. I think it's going to be fun. He's going to give us something. It may not all look great, but I think he's going to give us one or two of those like really exciting plays that, end up getting you a whole handful of points at one time. 6,600. It's a nice price for that.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting.
If he breaks two off, right, 30-plus yards or so each, one of them gets in for the end zone, and then he has a steady dose throughout the game, that's going to be some good points. That's going to translate well.
I'm still going to have all the. I'm going to have all the Jahmyr Gibbs just for what it's worth. Also, now people can actually see me looking this way. I had my camera on mirrors, so it made me look like I was looking the other way. This should fix it now. Anyway, I'm going to have sprinkles of Craig Reynolds. I might have a sprinkle of Zonovan Knight. This should be a great spot for Gibbs. I will say, to Atlanta's credit, man, their run defense has gotten better.
Look, I think, week one, I talked about this just a little bit. Might have been last week. The Falcons went out in free agency. They brought in 7 key defensive players for that defense. Okay, Smith is building the same thing that he built in Tennessee, which was a really good defense. It was a good defense all around. And he's gone out and he's gotten his guys now. That defense, this is not the same Falcons defense that it was last year by any means. This defense is going to continue to grow together. They're going to continue to get better as the season goes. Later on in the season, I think we're going to be using them a lot.
Except for what it's worth, this is a very small sample size. But where are the Falcons on this thing? I just... What
did I have?
Hello, Falcons. Where'd you go? I just saw you. What? Don't be rude. Sorry, this is absolutely riveting, stuff here.
Oh yeah.
They've given up only 193 rushing yards this year. No rushing touchdowns. They've only given up 43 receiving yards to opposing running backs and no touchdowns. I think this Atlanta Falcons defense is I think this Atlanta Falcons defense has gotten better. Now, if we take a look at what the Falcons did last year, we know we targeted them against running backs. They were bottom 10. They were one of the top 10 defenses in most rushing yards allowed to opposing running backs. They were still really good against receiving running, in not allowing a lot of receiving yards to opposing running backs. I don't know, man. I'm telling you, I call it a gut feeling. Maybe the stats don't back it up here, but I don't really want to go crazy with Gibbs this week. I'll probably take shots on Reynolds and Knight. I'll still have Gibbs, but his ownership is probably going to dictate what I do with him on the slate.
Yeah, he's a good choice, but there's other good deals out there this week too. There's other guys, I really love running backs in the rain a lot of times, especially if you got a guy that doesn't fumble much.
Yep.
That's always good. It's always a good bet that they're going to tote the rock a good bit in the rain.
Yep. Also, this and don't forget the lines are at home in a dome. 46 total in a lot of places and 46.5 in some others. So Vegas thinks this game is going to score.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Gibbs, ends up he's going to break a couple of free. I think that's where it's at. Reynolds, yep. I like his price is really, really good this week. He can help you fit some other guys in.
We have one. Yep. Anything else you want to talk about from this game?
No, man. I think we've covered that.
Yep. Sam Laporta, Kyle Pitts. You could take shots on both.
I love Laporta, but I've got other tight end targets that I think are better this week. Better choice. Falcons are good against the tight ends.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind taking a couple shots on Pitts. But, all right, let's just get into it. Let's talk about the chalk game of the week.
Pitts? Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I know.
No.
But let's do it, though. Let's talk about the chalk game of the week. The Los Angeles Chargers are going to travel to Minnesota to take on the Minnesota Vikings. This game has the highest over-under on the entire slate at 53.5. 54, 53.5, 54.5 in one spot. Overall, the consensus seems to be 54. I don't think that's high enough. I think Vegas is being very respectful.
It'll be 67.
So let's just talk about. We're gonna go position by position, but I'm just gonna filter here by all. If y'all are watching the screen, Austin Eckler's already been ruled out for this game.
Yeah, that hurts me a season long.
That's all right. You ready for this? Hang on. Let me hang back here. Let me hold my microphone. Do you remember all last week when I told you all not to play Joshua Kelly because we don't play running backs against the Titans? I'm just saying, do you all remember that? Just listen to my dulcet tones. Do you remember when I said we don't play running backs against the Titans and I said Joshua Kelly wasn't a good play? Joshua Kelly didn't do much last week. What? Welcome back to Joshua Kelly week. This is the week we play Joshua Kelly. You play everyone in this game. Everyone is in play. But the problem is DraftKings did an amazing job of pricing this week. Justin Jefferson, 9,300. Keenan Allen, 76. Herbert, 75. Cousins, 69. Hawkinson, 65. Mike Williams is 6K. Love that price tag.
Yes,
Madison's 58. Yep. Madison, 58. Addison is 55. Kelly's 54. And KJ Osborne, who credit to the Roto Grinders Morning Grind podcast for this. KJ Osborne has seen 6 targets in each of the 2 games this season. Apparently has dropped a couple of touchdowns and is only 4K. We're going to be playing, I'm going to be playing KJ Osborne this week. And that's how I'm going to try getting different. Gerald Everett's 38, Quentin Johnston's 34, Palmer's 33. There are so many people to play this week. Like, let's just go position by position. I think I already know your answer, but are you playing both Herbert and Cousins?
I mean, I'll play either one of them, but I'm playing Herbert because Herbert may be QB1 this week. I seriously feel like he's got a shot at being QB1, and I'll pay for him at 7,500 because I can make it work with some lineups.
Both are going to be in my player pool this week.
They could both have huge games.
Yep, both are going to be in my player pool. Running backs. I mentioned this earlier. This is going to be your last week to play Alexander Madison.
Maybe. It's a prove it game for him. It's in his head, man. This has got to be a prove it game. He's got to be thinking this is my last shot to show him that I can do it, or he's going to lose it.
They traded for Akers.
Yeah. I mean, Akers. I don't know if we know what Akers can really do. I don't know if he ever got a fair shot. You can't be ticking off the coach like that, apparently.
Akers never got a fair shot. Just never really wanted to use him. Whatever the case was, sometimes teams do better when they change teams.
Yeah, totally a little change of scenery.
Yep. Alexander Madison, 5,800. You can run on the Chargers.
Oh, you can. Yeah, you can do a lot of things on the Chargers. You run on them, you throw on them. They're not a great defense this year.
Nope.
At all. But it don't matter because they score tons of points, and that's going to start winning them games.
They look good on paper, though.
They sure do.
They're just not putting it together. Don't be surprised if Brandon Staley gets fired before the end of the season and Kellen Moore takes over.
Oh, you know what? I'd be all right. I like Kellen Moore, though. Good coach. I don't know. I think that'd be more of an end of the season thing, I think.
They've lost their first 2 games, and they've put up a ton of points.
I know. It's crazy. It's just been in some shootouts. But they're going to get their first – they're going to win this week.
We'll see.
They're going to get it. That's why and that's one of the reasons, man, I'm going to take Herbert.
I think Minnesota wins.
Yeah, I got to disagree with you on that one.
But again,
Chargers going to do it.
It doesn't matter. If you play cash games, you start with this game. You start with players from this game. And I don't play cash. All right. I have a GPP mindset. I don't play cash. I have friends of mine and other people I respect that play cash. They do well at it. Playing Jamal Williams in week 1. I don't know if they played Kelly last week. I'm like, look, you're playing plays that make no sense. I don't care if you're blocking people. If you're trying to block 90% of the field, then let 90% of the field screw up. But anyway, I'll tell you for large field GPPs, I would get sprinkles of Ty Chandler.
Yeah. I'd be all right with that. I mean, in this game, I really like Williams at 6,000 and Addison at 5,500.
Yep.
Addison at 5,500.
Well, let's talk about the wide receivers. I mean, Addison's been crushing.
He's going to be good. He's
crushing. He's crushing. He's had a touchdown in each of his first 2 games, which is how he's made it. Now, note he had a 62-yard reception last week, a long catch, and 39 the week prior. This is what he is. He's a field stretcher. He's a perimeter threat.
Yep, and he's going up against the defense to do it.
Yep.
And again, he may do it a couple of times.
Yep. Addison's
he
great.
Just might.
Jefferson is the best. I haven't looked up on the full slate yet, but I think Jefferson is the best play on the slate, regardless of price.
He is. He's priced way up. But
or at the very least, the best of any pay up this week.
He's got to have, he needs to have really good game. There's something, man.
There is a high-end possibility
he hit JJ this year so far.
Yeah, but there's a high-end possibility he goes over 200 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns at least.
Oh yeah. It could definitely happen. This could be the game. This could be one of them games for him. He's great. If just in your lineup, you got to make some sacrifice. You got to find there's some low dogs down the line to really make it work with him in a lineup because he is 9,300.
Yep. And I didn't mean to cut you off before, but just look at what this dude has done. 12 targets in week 1, caught 9 of them for 150 yards and no touchdowns. Last week against Philly's defense, he's against 2 really good defenses, the Bucs and Philly. Now you're getting, I don't want to call it a cupcake matchup against the Chargers, but they're not that good. 13 targets last week, caught 11 of them for 159 yards. If he has that again, he probably catches a couple of touchdowns. He's going to be 35 plus DK points, and you're going to need him to win anything high money.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't lock button players, but I'm going to be so overweight compared to the field on Jefferson this week.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna put up some points. You're right, and if he finds the end zone a couple of times, you will pretty much have to have him in your lineup. But man, he's priced up. But Williams, Allen's not bad. He's 7,600. I think.
Keenan Allen, you got to have in your player pool this week. You got to have him.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to have. You ain't going to put JJ and Allen in the lineup and be able to do a whole lot else.
No, that's going to be extremely difficult. But if you don't want to play JJ, and let's say you want to get different, you want to play Addison and Osborne, or you want to get Addison and maybe Hawkinson. You want to get we haven't even got the tight ends yet. Like if you want to get that in there. Get off JJ so you can get a Keenan Allen, Mike Williams with the Justin Herbert stack, and your run backs at Addison and, a Hawkinson and Addison and Osborne. This week, by the way, for this game, if you want to go 4-2 on stacks, which basically means your quarterback and 3 pass catchers, or include the running back, or do whatever, however you want, your rules are set, and 2 bringbacks from the other team, perfectly viable for this game because this game
absolutely.
If this game fails, I'm fine losing money this week. If this game fails, I'm fine losing money. I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
This is going to be like our big high scoring game from last week that yielded 20 points or something. Casey
I don't know, but if this game doesn't go off, I'm gonna.
We missed on that one. Everybody missed on that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of people missed on that one.
That was the highest line of the week, and it was like
Kirk still got there. I think Kirk was in the Millie Maker lineup, so Kirk got there. But anyway, let's get right into the tight ends. Obviously, any of the wide receivers are in play, including Johnston and Palmer. I take sprinkles of Hawkinson, 6,500. You have to pay for him this week, but against the Chargers, it doesn't matter the pass catcher. Gerald Everett, 3,800.
Nope.
Someone I'm probably not going to get a lot of, but I'll probably max at like 15, 20, 25%, somewhere in that range. If I get him, I get him. If I don't, I don't. I don't care.
The Chargers, they just don't favor the tight ends that much.
No, and I mean,
No.
we've been waiting for Gerald Everett to do something for years.
Okay,
3 targets in
a
each of the
game.
first. Yeah, and that's it. 3 targets in each of the first 2 games.
Yeah, and Kellen Moore. That's, I mean, it's, if you think about it, like last year, we're like, oh man, this is gonna be great. For what was it, Schultz, and didn't. It's just like, I don't know. It's not. I guess it's not his style. I'm staying away from Chargers tight ends.
Yeah.
There's better, cheaper guys.
It's true. You're getting no argument from me here. Let's take a look at this real quick. So I think that game we've pretty much said everything we're gonna say. I'm gonna go with an honorable mention game, Denver at Miami, just because the total is so high. So I'm giving that one an honorable mention. We're not going to talk about it because we have 2 other games that we would really want to.
Let me point one thing out. Sneakily, Russell Wilson is averaging about 22 points a game. It's ugly, but he's getting it done, and he's cheap. Just saying.
Yeah.
I have him in a lot of lineups this weekend. 900.
Sorry, I'm responding back to someone real quick. This is what y'all get with live stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, so again, honorable mention, Denver at Miami. The over-under at this game is, let's see. I just had it pulled up. It's 48. 47.5 in some other places, but I'm actually really surprised it's 48, to be honest. I mean, Miami's been really good. No Patrick Surtain this week. What was it, Justin Simmons? I don't know. One of the elite DBs is out. One of Surtain might have been Justin Simmons, but someone
Surtain's in.
Okay, so it's Justin Simmons that's out then. Some defensive back for the Broncos is out. So just keep that in mind. I'm happy it's not in Denver for the sake of playing Tua. I mean, am I wrong in saying that?
No. My thing is that with Surtain, he's one of the best at what he does in the entire league.
He's one of the 2 best corners in the league.
He might be the best, and he may be better than Sauce. That's
I would agree with that. I mean, we've seen a longer sample size of Surtain than we have Sauce, but again, it's Surtain and Sauce 1-2 in some form, in my opinion.
He's going to line up on Hill a whole bunch this game.
Oh, he'll shadow. He'll shadow
temper
with no
your
problem.
Expectations. Hill's gonna have a good game. If you're, if you're playing like season long or something like that, you're gonna start that dude. But temper your expectations at his price this week, because that's a shutdown corner.
And also to keep in mind, Hill's 9,000. I will find the extra $300 to get to Jefferson.
Absolutely. Take JJ over Hill all day long this week. Hill's going to get 16 points. It ain't going to be enough.
So like I said, honorable mention, Denver at Miami. Again, that one's got some weather concerns as well, so please keep that in mind. So yeah, what's the weather concerns on that one? That is Roth has us at a yellow, decent shot of a shower or storm. So, okay, and that's in Miami, which definitely makes things better. All right, game number 2.
Rain. It'll be great.
Yeah. Where are we going?
Seattle, Carolina. Yeah.
You're fired.
The Seahawks, man. Look, Carolina defense is poo-poo. It really is in certain aspects. It is not good. And Walker.
I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's good. I think it's.
Hey, man, I'm telling you right now that Walker is going to be a Jedi, all right? That out there is Kenneth Skywalker this weekend. I'm telling you. He's going to feast. He's going to feast.
Did you just say Kenneth Skywalker?
I sure did. I used that as one of my fantasy team names last year, actually.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
There is no surprise.
difference in.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So the biggest let's just go position by position. Geno Smith is 5,700. You'll love that price tag. You get a under 6K quarterback that could put up, a team that could put up 30 real life points.
Absolutely. The
Bryce
guy
Young's
he's
out.
to.
Yeah, Bryce Young is out, I believe, with an ankle injury. So with Bryce Young out, that means
out 1 or 2 weeks. Yes, the Red Rocket. I'm excited about this.
I thought it was the Red Rifle. I'm trying to avoid
Red Rifle Rocket.
Yep. 4,900.
Almost retired, whatever.
Zero interest. I have
was.
no interest in Andy Dalton this week. Zero.
No, not him as a QB. Absolutely not. I might have to start him in one super flex this week. I'm kind of desperate, but
how desperate are you? We haven't had major quarterback in. Oh, you must have Aaron Rodgers.
No, I have Anthony Richardson.
Who's in the concussion protocol.
Yeah, he's not. No, he's not going to play. So
no, he's already ruled out.
It's a deep league. There's nobody
well,
left.
Maybe he can put you up 10 points.
Yeah, it was nobody and nobody, so I went with Dalton.
Listen, I have Daniel Jones and Tua, along with Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo in a Superflex with IDP League, and I've gone from Daniel Jones not doing well, one of the highest scoring quarterbacks in the league, and then back to absolutely nothing from against the 49ers.
Oh, boy. Injuries, man, they're coming on fast and strong, man. The injuries. I lost Eckler and Ayuk this week in one lineup, and that lineup's almost wrecked. I'm very sad about that, but oh well, I digress. Hey, but check it out, man. Here's the thing about Andy Dalton, and we could see some weather in this game as well, a little bit. We'll see, but if he's going to complete any passes, and when I say that, I mean like the passes that he throws are actually completable. It's probably going to be the little short ones to the tight end. I really think that Hurst is going to get peppered in this game because of Andy Dalton. So I really like that play at because he's like 3,800 and could be a really sneaky little play. 7 catches or something. Dalton's going to be desperate. He's going to be, it's not going to be pretty. Tight ends always win when it's not pretty.
We'll get to Hayden Hurst in a bit. Let's talk about Kenneth Walker and Miles Sanders, because I think that this is, as crazy as this sounds, a mini stack that's just running backs and both will smash.
Oh, it's completely possible. It is completely possible. Sanders isn't bad priced either.
5,700.
Yeah, he's 57. I like that. You can do a lot with that. I mean, look, at 62 and 57, I think you could find a way to get JJ with him. I really do. And that wouldn't be a bad running back core. Oh yeah.
I mean, both of these teams are just the run defense is on good. Yes, Carolina has Brian Burns, but he's an edge rusher. I mean, last season the Panthers were about middle of the pack in rushing yards allowed versus opposing running backs. They were one of the best teams last year, top 10 against receiving yards allowed versus opposing running backs, only allowing 455 receiving yards, one of the best in the league. Again, top 10 in that category. But we take a look at, the Seahawks. They were one of the worst teams last year against running backs. So, again,
they haven't done a lot to fix that.
No, they haven't.
They've gotten a little better, but they haven't done a lot to fix that. So there's opportunity there for running backs that are going to go up against them.
Yeah. Now look, with all due respect to the Panthers, they've allowed 194 rushing yards this year against them and 4 rushing touchdowns, tied for most in the league. And so haven't the Seahawks, also allowing 4 rushing touchdowns. This is in 2 games. The only other teams that have allowed 4 rushing touchdowns besides the Panthers and Seahawks this year are the Giants, who, keep in mind, have played an extra game. They've already played their week 3 game.
They are terrible.
And the Texans.
who are also terrible. See a pattern? They're all terrible.
I love both Walker and Sanders this week.
Yeah, play running backs against bad defenses. That's what you do. Play them against bad defenses. These are not good teams. Well, I won't say not good teams. They are not good defenses, though. They can be exposed easily. Telling you, Kenneth Skywalker, lock him in. He's going to be out there with his lightsaber. He's going to score like a touchdown, maybe 2. He's going to have chunk gains. It's going to be great. On the other side, you may get the exact same thing. Be ground and pound all across the board in this game.
Yeah.
Great.
Well,
but I like there's a receiver I like as well.
Yeah. Well, I think we could continue to talk about these running backs. You play Walker, you play Sanders. If you want to take shots on Chuba, if you want to take shots on Charbonnet, large field GPPs only, and make a rule, one of Walker or Charbonnet, one of Sanders or Hubbard. Do not allow them in the same lineup with each other.
No, yeah, don't tag team your running backs. I wouldn't even want to do that in season long, really.
Right, and again, like I just traded James Cook and Jordan Addison in one league for Mark Andrews and Kendre Miller. I needed an upgraded tight end, and I have Jefferson. Forgot I had Jefferson and drafted Addison.
I mean, you're getting the best player out of the trade, but I can see a good argument for the other side as well.
But I also really like Kendre Miller.
Is it dynasty or is it just season long?
Season long.
Okay. All right.
Because I've said this before.
Cool. Andrews is a beast.
If Kendre Miller can get a handle on the starting job, Kamara and Williams may never get it back. Kendre Miller is a super talented running back out of TCU. And this week, Kendre Miller is 4,300. I'm already listing him as a running back.
Yeah, I like him. He's coming in. He's going to make his debut. He could be cool. He does have a lot of talent. You're absolutely right. I just, he
could have gone last week.
He hasn't even played a game yet, though, and he's been banged up like 3 times. So it's
he could have been cleared.
I worry how much they're going to use him.
Oh, I think he's going to be like full go. It's him and Tony Jones. But again,
hey man, they might have something there in Jones.
We'll see.
It might.
Let's talk about the wide receivers. DK Metcalf, full participant in practice, rib injury.
That guy's an athlete, man. I haven't heard anything.
Rib injuries.
He's not gonna play.
If he takes a shot to the chest, does that not concern you that that'll knock him out of the game?
It absolutely does. But you know what? Lame ducks make great decoys.
Lame ducks make great decoys. Okay, then.
Absolutely.
Book that.
And on the other side of that field, you've got Lockett.
Lockett.
He's gonna have another good one.
Yep, from the fantasy footballers. Hot Lockett.
I like that.
Again, yeah. We were right on him last week. 10 targets, 8 receptions, 59 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yep, huge game. He's gonna have another one.
We were also right on Metcalf. Both did well last week. Right back to the well. I think this could be the game that Jackson Smith-Njigba does something.
Maybe.
5 targets in week 1, 6 targets in week 2. I think this is the game he could do something. The kid's super talented. The Carolina defense isn't the greatest. I think this is the week that JSN can absolutely do something. And JSN's 4,300.
Yeah, he's got a good shot. It's a good price. Lock it at 6,400. I really like a lot more. I think he'll have the best game out of the 3 of them. I really do. Just looking at the Carolina defense and looking at where they're weak, in that secondary and all, I think that Lockett's probably best position to get you the best bang for your buck. But any of them have the potential. All 3 of them, those guys have the potential to just blow up. Because it's Carolina and they stink.
Uh-huh.
Yep, they really do. I like them. They got a great logo. They got that going for them.
I like it.
It's probably one of the cooler looking logos, honestly. I'm a cat guy. Yeah. Got my little 3-legged cat hobbling around down here somewhere.
Oh boy! All right, well let's get into the wide receivers for Carolina.
They have those? No, they do not this week. They do have them. They do have them. Old man Thielen, he's there. They got a couple of young guns that are building a decent rapport with their young quarterback who's not going to play. And as we've already established, Red retirement's not going to do much as far as throwing the ball. And if it does, it's going to be really short passes. It probably won't score a touchdown through the air. So I'm staying away from all of them.
I'll take shots
might
on
start
Thielen and Shark. I'll take shots
just
on
because
Thielen,
of the
Shark, and Mingo. Again, yeah, Thielen 39, Shark 38, Mingo 34.
I like Mingo for the future, though.
Yeah, I think he'll be good in the future. I mean, I'll take shots on the Carolina wide receivers. I'm not going to go crazy with them. I'm probably not going to go more than 10% on any of these guys, maybe 15% for Thielen. But let's talk about your guy. Let's get off the wide receivers. Let's talk about your guy. Let's talk about your guy, Hayden Hurst, 3,800.
Yes. Hey, man, this guy's been like the safety net already for Carolina this year. He blew up week 1. I like it. They're going to go back to him because this is the thing, man. You've got Dalton in. Bad quarterback play favors running backs and tight ends much more than guys that stretch the field. All right? You're going to try to hide the quarterback. You're going to do it with your running back. You're going to do it with your tight ends. Hayden Hurst, he's a good safety net. So I think he's going to have a lot of opportunity at his price. I like him because I like him on the quantity that I think he's going to get this week. I think he can be really valuable. I think he's a really good play, and he'll help you save some money so you can get guys like JJ or Allen or maybe Herbert in your lineup because you want to have some of those big guys in there.
So if we talk about this, right? Atlanta saw 7 targets, caught 5 of them, 5 receptions, 41 yards, and a touchdown, 15.1 fantasy points at 3K. You'd love that. That's smashing. That's what, 5x?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 5x. He smashed. Did everything he wanted to. New Orleans saw 3 targets, caught all of them for 20 yards. We don't play tight ends against New Orleans. We don't play tight ends against the Patriots. We know this. So
they're really stingy against tight ends. New Orleans is.
Yep, they have been for what feels like years. The Patriots are the same thing. They don't let you utilize the tight end. Now, if Hayden Hurst is going to be, let me just take a look here. I'm going to go pull up the projection model that I use, that I pay for. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm going to take a look at the projected ownership coming from this model. I'm going to take a guess. Before I pull it up, if you had to guess, what do you think Hayden Hurst is for a projected ownership? I'm going to go with about 5% or so, or under 5%. What do you think?
Oh, I was probably going to say somewhere around 11 or 12%.
Projected ownership right now, 3.04%.
There you go.
You don't need much of Hayden Hurst to be overweight on the field. If you have 15% Hayden Hurst in a 20 max, I know it's 3 lineups. That is way overweight compared to the field, if that 3% is correct.
Wow. He's sneaky. He's a good one this week. I really, really like him. He is. I've got him in a good bit of my lineups that I've built so far.
One thing I want to talk about, the Seahawks defense is $3,200. I assume you're not playing the Panthers defense on the road.
No, I'm not. I might take a shot on Seattle's defense just because they're going to have, not a great offense to deal with. They haven't been like great, but
3,200 at home, 12th man advantage.
The thing is that there's some other defenses that are even cheaper, and that's where I like to save my money.
I agree with you.
It's where I want to save my money. Defense and tight end.
Yep, we'll get into defenses later. Let's get into the last game that I want to talk about, and then we'll get into a GPP game that we'll touch on. We kind of already touched on Denver, Miami. I kind of like that for large field GPPs.
I love that quarterback.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Should we just make that our GPP game of the week?
I mean, we can. I like he's my quarterback for sure.
All right. Well, we'll talk about that in a bit. Let's talk about a game I want to talk about. All right. And it's going to be Houston at Jacksonville. I might get a chance to play CJ Stroud.
Maybe. I'm not playing him this week, that's for sure.
He'll be in my player pool, whether or not he makes the final cut. Look, Trevor Lawrence, 6,800. Great spot. CJ Stroud, 5,300. I don't think Jacksonville's an elite defense. I think you can throw on them.
But how much of Stroud are they really going to use if he's banged up? He's dealing with a shoulder injury. They're saying that they called it an arm injury, but it's a shoulder.
It's a shoulder injury. He has no injury designation. He practiced in full. I'm not worried about it.
I mean, they're keeping an eye on him.
No, I know. And I mean, they have to. He's their future.
Yeah.
So, I mean, both quarterbacks for me are in play. Yeah, both quarterbacks for me are in play. For you, it sounds like the only quarterback in play for you is Lawrence.
T-Law all day long.
Can't
I know
I
was wrong about him. I'm sorry. I was wrong about him last week. Everybody
a lot of us were wrong about that entire game.
I don't feel bad. Yeah, I'm going to apologize. I don't feel bad. Everybody was wrong about him.
A lot of us were wrong last week about that game.
I don't understand, man. I don't understand how they didn't, burn down the goalpost with so many points. It just doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. I can't even believe it. Ridley got banged up.
Let's talk about it.
When we get to the wide receivers, when you want to talk about the wide receivers, I'm going to point this
Travis Etienne against the Houston defense.
Yeah, run all day. On Houston, are you kidding me? Do you see my little man, Zach Moss, out there?
Do I have to say anything else? Woo-hoo! Travis Etienne against the Houston Houston
Zach
defense.
Moss makes you look bad, and I'm a Colts fan. If Zach Moss makes you look bad, you play the running back against that defense because everybody else and their mama is too.
I think Etienne is gonna feast. I would rather
put 75 yards up against them.
As bad as this is, I'd rather Etienne over both the other running backs we just talked about.
No, I like that a lot. He's in there. For the week, I've got 4 running backs that I really like, and he's one of the 4. Walker is one of them, but he is one of the 4.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, and again, that's fine. I have no interest in Dameon Pierce.
No, I want to like him. I really do. He had such an opportunity. There was so much potential for him to be a thing, but I guess things just don't happen on Houston.
Well, they're going up against a really good run defense in the Jacksonville. I think Tank Bigsby's in play. Kind of like what we said earlier.
What's his price? Where's he at?
4,700.
47. That's not a bad price. I like that.
If this game gets to blowout, Tank Bigsby could get some garbage time. He could get some goal line work to begin with. I like Tank Bigsby, but again, I would do the same thing we talked about already with Atlanta and Detroit. Not Atlanta, Detroit. The other game, the one we just talked about. Carolina, Seattle. Set a rule. One of Etienne or Bigsby not in the same lineup. But, Bigsby I'd limit to maybe 20, 25%, probably around 25 max, and just see if I get anything. Again, we have to find salary savings somewhere. But Etienne's going to feast. All right. Running backs, that's easy. Wide receivers. Calvin Ridley flop.
So
last week.
No, Calvin Ridley got banged up a little bit last week.
8 targets, caught 2 of them.
He was hurt though. He got shaken up. He was a little banged up. They've documented that. He was, and on the other side of that, Zay Jones was also injured in that game. And I tell you this because don't think that Kirk's coming out there and doing the same thing this week that he did last week. It's not going to happen. Calvin Ridley's going to get his again. He was a little banged up. That's all that it was. It was the first time in live game that he was banged up. You know, takes a little bit of getting used to playing through that pain because remember the man was, you know, out gambling in Vegas for like 7 years. So, you know, he's got to get back into form.
Yep.
But
Ridley, I'm fine with.
I like him
200
this week. He's one I'll pay up for. He's a little bit cheaper than Allen, and he's got the potential to do even better.
Yep. Nose Jones. Does that make
he's out.
Christian right? But does that make you like Christian Kirk a bit more?
A little bit more. It makes me like Evan Ingram a lot more.
That too. I haven't gotten to him yet. This guy's jumping right on over me. What's up, Governor? What's up, Zane? Shout out to all of you in chat. We appreciate it. All right, Charlie. Nico made everyone spend their Fab Collins.
Okay.
I think Nico Collins is a fantastic run back. And quite frankly, it's him or Tank Dell are the only run backs I'm considering. Large field GPPs, you can take shots on Robert Woods. But man, it's really tough to argue with what we've seen from Nico Collins. 20 targets throughout 2 weeks, 11 in week 1, 9 in week 2, caught a touchdown last week for 146 yards. You needed him last week against Indy. I really like Nico Collins this week. So I think Nico Collins is my favorite run back. Tank Dell I really like too. And man, he might be the salary savings that we need this week.
Yes, that's why I like him a lot. He is cheap, man. He's on the low. Like, seriously. He's like the nickel bag this week. So, you know, you gotta put him in. That's where you're gonna save your money. Right there.
Yeah. So Government's asking.
He can get one touchdown, and there you go. You're in. Yeah. He does his thing one time.
Yeah, Government's asking us in chat with Nose, Kirk, or Ingram, who's the Robin to Ridley's Batman?
It's going to be Ingram.
I'm kind of inclined to agree with you.
I really think so.
I think Ingram's going to get peppered with targets. I think Kirk is fine. I don't think Ingram is safe. But I do think that's the right answer. I think Kirk's the obvious answer. I think Ingram's got a slightly higher, ceiling.
What's Ingram?
I can't quantify this. It's a gut feeling on Ingram. Safety play is Kirk. Ingram's 4,800.
You can do better price wise.
Kirk is 54.
But to answer the question, I'm going to go with Ingram. I think he'll see the second most targets on the team. Well, possibly the third most targets on the team, but if so, that's because an RB is in play.
Yeah. So let's continue to talk about this. Tank Dell, I'll have quite a bit of exposure to him. I just think he has a higher ceiling than Robert Woods. Now, Robert Woods, himself hasn't been bad. 10 targets at Baltimore, 9 targets against Indy. He's been good, hasn't caught a touchdown yet this season. I've been on Tank Dell since draft season.
Absolutely.
Like before the draft, I really like Tank Dell. 3,600. He might be a popular run back option with Jefferson. If you're going to get a lot of Jefferson or say a Tyreek Hill or a Bijan, well, we're going to need that salary savings, Charlie. And
absolutely.
I don't know what we do with it. Like, if we just take a look, right? Like, I'm trying to take a look here. Tank Dell right now is not over 10% projected ownership. Tank Dell is, where is he? Let me take a look. Tank Dell, sub 7% projected ownership. Again, we're recording this on Friday, September 22nd. So 2023, so keep that in mind. Man,
if you were to go with
Tank Dell this week, I do.
If you use Tank and Reynolds, that would you could get leeway to get like Bijan and Allen in a lineup.
It's crazy.
You could throw Addison in there too at 5,500. Go real cheap on your defense like Jets or something. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you're already playing with lineups.
3,800 for Hurst.
I like all three of these Houston wide receivers, Collins, Woods, and Dell. I think Woods is safer. I think Dell's got a really high ceiling. Lower floor, but high ceiling.
I'm not locking Houston wide receivers into my lineup until Sunday morning when I hear more about what they're going to do with their quarterback. Because the word in the camp is that, they maybe not going to throw him as hard this week because of the shoulder injury. Because they got it, that's their future.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're going to the playoffs this year. They don't care.
No, and it's not like they have their number one pick next year either.
No, that's why they got two of them this year. Can't have it all. Gosh.
I understand why they traded for Will Anderson. They got Stroud and they got Anderson. I understand that.
They wanted to look flashy.
I think Will Anderson is talented. I mean, he's obviously the best edge rusher in this past draft class. But man,
he is a great talent.
Marvin Harrison is there next year. Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, baby. He's coming to the Colts. Don't even worry about it. It's a done deal. We're tanking for Junior. I'm telling you. That is happening.
The NFL script's already written for the Colts.
Look, man.
What is this, pro wrestling?
The Colts were supposed to lose last week. That's why Minshew really came in. Nobody was going to believe that Richardson lost to Houston. And it still didn't work. That's how bad the Texans are.
I'm a professional wrestling fan, and I don't even believe that. Anyway, let's get on to the tight ends. Ingram, we've talked about. What are you doing with Dalton Schultz? Because Dalton Schultz saw 4 targets in week 1. Yeah, I mean, 4 targets in week 1 for Schultz, 7 targets last week against Indy.
34 yards. This 7 targets. The dude mustered up 34 yards.
Yep. Anyway, anything
else?
Look,
if I'm going to be disappointed in a tight end, I'm going to play somebody like Waller. Season long.
Not that he's tilting over the Thursday night game. All right,
he killed my parlay last night. He killed my parlay.
Rude.
So mad at him.
If you have questions, post them in chat. We're going to finish this out here with the GPP game of the week. I have no problem saying Denver at Miami.
Absolutely. I love Wilson this week. He's 5,900. The guy's averaging like almost 22 points a game. He blew it up last weekend. It is ugly, but ugly don't care because it gets points.
It took overtime to get there. It took overtime to get there.
Good. That's what we want. Are you kidding me? More game, more chances for more points? Absolutely. I love that. I get excited. If I got a guy on my roster and it's a tie game, I'm excited. Love it. He's a good one. He's all over.
I have no interest right now in Wilson. Tua at 7K is going to make this really difficult. Because I want so much of the Chargers and Vikings game. But Tua at 7K against a really good defense, even though they're on the road. Running backs, Mostert 6K. Why is Javonte 5,500?
I want to be on Javonte.
I'm gonna have tons of Javonte then.
I'm not sure if he's quite there. I feel like we're gonna see it from him. We're gonna see it from him real big in a couple of weeks. I think he's still kind of getting back into the rhythm of things. He's doing well. It's just not translating for fantasy right now. That's the thing.
Right.
Russell's getting all those fantasy points. He is not.
But this is the same thing like with Breece Hall coming off the ACL. It's taking time to get back into it.
Yeah. And I think he needs a couple more weeks. I think week 5, man, This guy's going to be like my favorite running back in the league for fantasy. Are you kidding me? I got him all over the place in Dynasty.
It's
oh,
same.
So many shares of him in Dynasty.
I came close to trading him because I was concerned back in May and June and about the possibly missing this entire season. I have Austin Eckler. I'm in my Dynasty league another time. I love Javonte this week at 55. I don't love him as much as I did with Rashad White last week with Zach Moss, but I think I would like Javonte a lot more than Zach Moss from last week. Javonte, 5,500. Miami's got a bad run defense. We've seen it already. There's the kitty.
Yep, he's coming around.
So, what do you think about Mostert and A-Chain?
We're good.
Yeah.
Oh, I like move those A-Chains. I like him a lot. I think it's only a matter of time before Mostert doesn't complete a game, and it could be this week going up against a defense that can hit. So
possible.
When he gets his chance, yeah, A-Chain's going to be golden when he gets his chance. He gets a real chance. I like Mostert, though. Mostert is a very, very efficient back. Mostert does a lot of things very well when he is healthy. He just is not a healthy dude.
So keep this in mind. Savon Ahmed is doubtful for this game. So A-Chain, even though Denver's got a really good run defense, if you want to take shots, you're more than welcome to. It's just Javonte of any of the running backs here for me. The wide receivers, we talked about Tyreek Hill being covered by Patrick
Surtain the second or third.
Waddle is still in the concussion protocol.
Have they ruled him out yet? I think he's one of the only ones in concussion that has not been ruled out.
He's questionable. If Waddle is out, my opinion about this game changes, and I'm taking the under.
Oh, I can agree with you on that. I do like
because you're going to make Berrios and Crockraft.
I was going to say though, if Waddle is out, I kind of like Berrios as a cheap play to make some other guys work in my lineup.
He's fine. 3,600. He'll get his targets over the middle, do what Waddle would do, and play the slot. What are you doing with the trio of Judy, Sutton, and Mims?
I'm playing Sutton in a few spots, and I'm waiting and seeing on the other guys. I think Mims has got talent. He might end up being something. I am not so I'm a Sutton guy. I'm not a Judy guy. That's just the way it is. I'm not sold on Judy, and I am sold on Sutton.
I've been a Sutton truther since he came into the league. Coming out of college, I've been a Sutton truther.
Dude,
hasn't translated too much for him. He's really good. I like Judy this week. It's high ceiling. Sutton, I think, has got a good floor. And Mims, you can't expect 2 targets, 2 catches for over 100 yards. You can't expect that.
No. And that's the thing. It's that game. That's fluky. Like he's got some potential. He's got some talent, but
yep.
There's other guys that we've talked about that are in that price range that if you need to fill a spot with someone in that price range that are better. And I'd play Berrios over Mims for sure this week.
True. Oh my goodness. I apologize. I'm tired. It's been a long day. So this game is weird. Like I said, this is why we're calling this a GPP game. If Waddle's out, that makes this game way more interesting for fantasy. Like I said, I'd be inclined to take a little bit more shots on Berrios. Like you said, Berrios would be the play. You want to take more shots on Berrios? I think that makes sense. Crockraft is fine. Judy, Sutton, Mims. I'd limit it to Judy and Sutton. Judy higher ceiling, less floor. Sutton higher floor, maybe less for ceiling. The tight ends. I have no interest in any tight end on neither of these teams.
No, the tight ends leave something to be desired. They're not even worth mentioning.
Yeah. I will say the Broncos defense on the road is 2,500. If Jalen Waddle is out, I would like the Broncos defense a lot more.
See, I like aspects of the Broncos defense. If the whole team shows up, if that whole side of the field shows up, but it's a hard matchup. Miami's they can score. One way or another, I feel like they end up putting up points, winning that game.
It's going to be interesting. Should we get into our picks?
Absolutely. Let's
get into it. We're going to give you 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and a defense that we like. That'll be the order this week. All right, quarterbacks. Who's your first?
I mean, it's got to be Herbert. Herbert's probably going to be QB number 1 this week.
Yeah.
You'll spend money on him, then that's the one to spend some money on.
Yep.
It really is.
Lamar Jackson against Indy for me is my first one. 7,700.
Weather.
I know. That's why I said.
Just check the weather in the morning on that one.
That's.
I like him. No, I like him. He if this was a game that was being played in the sunlight, God, man, the Colts would look bad Sunday.
Yep.
They probably would.
I agree with you on Herbert for all the reasons we said earlier. Quarterback number 2.
I see.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Charlie.
Look, we just talked about him. At his price, man. Russell Wilson's averaging 21 points a game right now. It's ugly, but 5,900 is very pretty.
Yep.
Very pretty.
The easy answer is to say Kirk Cousins. Give me Trevor Lawrence, though. 6,800 against Houston.
T-Law's a good play this week.
Yep. All right, let's get into it. Running backs. Austin Eckler's out. Nick Chubb's on IR. Running backs. Tony Pollard's going up against Arizona. But
he's expensive, but he's going to be huge.
Yeah. Who's your first running back?
All right. So I like weather games. We could see some in this. This guy's just going up and up and up. Robinson Jr. I like Brian Robinson Jr. He's 5,800 this week. He is a great play. He may have another huge game.
You got it. First one for me is going to be none other. We talked about him a lot to begin with. We're going to continue to talk about him. He's going to become one of the best running backs in the league. Probably already is one of the best running backs in the league. Okay, I can't put him up there yet. But it's Bijan Robinson, 7,800. If you can afford him, you pay up for him. He's the pay up at running back you want this week, period. And by pay up, any running back over 7,000. Running back 2.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that one. If you're going to pay up for one, then that's the one.
Who you going with? Running back number 2.
In my lineups, running back number 2, it's Walker for me. We talked about him. He's going to expose that defense. This is going to be a really, really good game for him. We've seen him have some huge games last season. This is going to be one of them. I like it. 6,200. Lock him in.
We've talked about a lot of running backs that both of us like. But for me, it's going to be Miles Sanders going against Seattle. Carolina is going to want to keep the Seattle offense off the field as long as it can, or as long as they can. Give me Miles Sanders to have a breakout week here. 20-plus fantasy points on DraftKings this week. That's my prediction for Sanders. So give me Sanders at 5,700. We've talked about other running backs we already like. Let's get to the wide receivers. Who's the first wide receiver you like this week? And for what it's worth, Jefferson's off the table. Cannot pick Jefferson this week because he's the obvious play. He's the obvious play.
Oh no, man, dude! I'm coming out of left field with this one, and I really, really like him. And he's $4,400. Sky Moore. Get Sky Moore in your lineups. This is how you're going to save some money, so you can put somebody like JJ in there. Sky Moore.
Fired.
He's going to get some targets. He's going to get a touchdown. He's going to be a good one. $4,400.
All right, he's fine. He's not going to be my player pool, most likely. Wide receiver is really interesting this week. Give me Mike Williams at 6K.
Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to take one. My second one, I'm going to take one. I'm going to go from one of the rain games, but I think, and I know the defense very well, so I think he's going to have a good game. But I like Zay Flowers, 5,400.
Oh, you took mine.
Oh!
I was just looking at him. You took mine.
Zay Flowers, 5,400. Look, man, the Indianapolis corners are kind of suspect. There's some talent there, but Zay Flowers is going to have a good game. He's going to have a good game, I think.
Zay Flowers. Look, I want to talk about
54.
someone. Yep. Someone else we already talked about. He's going to save you some salary this week. Tank Dell, 3,600.
Good one right there. Yep, absolutely.
One tight end you're targeting this week.
It's Hunter Henry, actually.
Against the Jets. Talk to us about it.
Yep. 4,100. Again, possibly some weather in this game. The Jets, what are you going to do with the Jets? The Jets have probably already given up. They really have. They've been crying ever since week 1. They have probably just given up at this point. I think that New England, that's an offense that's kind of in shambles as well, and he's been a kind of a focal point. So I like him for his price. I like him in a game that could have some weather, and I like him against a team that is possibly already thrown in the towel.
Yeah. Who, the Jets? Kind of sad. I honestly do think Zach Williams will be I think Zach Wilson will end up being a competent quarterback sooner rather than later this year. Again, Zach Wilson's never had Aaron Rodgers before. So if Aaron Rodgers is still mentoring him behind the scenes, then give me.
That's an if though, man.
I don't know, but like, I mean, again, my opinion. Give me the chance of Wilson doing something. I knew play the Patriots defense this week. Tight ends. I'm going to go off the board. I can't believe I'm saying this. Give me Kyle Pitts against Detroit.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm sorry.
That was really hard to swallow.
I'm sorry. Give me Kyle Pitts against Detroit.
You could have him.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to have him for almost nothing, probably at 1% ownership too.
I can tell you from being down here in Atlanta that most of the people around here will probably give him to you.
So the Lions have given up the second most receiving yards versus opposing tight ends this season. 175 receiving yards last season. They gave up, let's see here. They were, between 10 and 15 in terms of team most receiving yards allowed to the opposing tight ends. Gave up 11 receiving touchdowns last year, tied for second most with the Patriots.
Yeah, but most of those tight ends probably had an actual quarterback throwing to them.
Ritter's got the Falcons at 2-0.
No, he doesn't. Arthur Smith has the Falcons at 2-0.
I don't want to give Arthur Smith that much credit.
To get those wins.
I really don't want to give Arthur Smith that much credit, but congrats to him. I still don't know how Arthur Smith is running this team. But besides the point, I'm going to cap my exposure on Pitts at probably 20-25%. I'm not going to get a lot of him. Even Cover Not in Twitch chat says ew. Look, the obvious plays are Kelsey, Hawkinson, and Andrews, the big three. Really not surprising. Ingram, 4,800, but gut feeling. Give me Kyle Pitts against Detroit.
If you are going to pay up for a tight end this week, make it Kelsey, because that dude's going off. He's trying to impress Taylor.
I don't give a damn if he's trying to impress some girl. Taylor's. I don't give a damn.
Hawkinson some girl. That ain't just some girl, though. I mean,
that's
Taylor.
Nice.
She's hot.
True. Dude, my wife and I have been together 12 years this December and married for 7.5. I don't give a damn.
No, I hear you, but good to him. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him.
I think Hawkinson is the best play this week of the big three. I probably like Andrews second against Indy. Kelsey just 7,200. Yeah. Look, I'm probably going to have way too much Jefferson to probably get into Kelsey this week. He'll be in my player pool. If I get him, I get him. I'm trust me, I'm not going to complain if I get Travis Kelce. But I am going to be overweight on the field. I will probably cap Justin Jefferson. Again, this is Friday. I still need to go through my player pool. I'm probably going to cap Jefferson a max of 70%. And that's a lot.
That is a lot. But, I mean, dude's going off, though. Dude's going off. I get it.
I know. But again, I don't hit the lock button and have him get 30 yards either. So the big three are fine. Pitts, I think, is interesting at 39. You have Henry at 41. I like that. Henry will be my player pool. Let's wrap this up. Defense. Give us one defense you like. Cowboys defense of $4,400 on the road in Arizona, and I think that's viable. I'm sorry. That just kind of popped out to me. What defense do you like this week?
Look, Sunday morning, I'm just going to get up. I'm going to check the weather, right? And I'm going to put the names of all the defenses that are playing in Cyclone 16 into a hat, and I'm going to pull one out because they're all going to be good. I hope I pull out this one. So give me the Jets.
Give me the Broncos on the road against Miami.
I dig that one too. I like it.
All right. With that being said, thank you for joining us for the Sizzlin NFL DFS podcast for week 3 of the 2023 NFL season. Charlie, any last minute thoughts on this slate besides play tons of Russell Wilson?
Yeah, play tons of Walker.
That too.
Hey, don't spend what you can't lose, people.
Yeah.
Seriously. Don't go broke playing a silly game.
Yeah, don't. It's fantasy.
That's right.
All right, and with that being said, I have no other final thoughts. I think Javonte is going to be a good play, but yeah. Other than that, it's week 3. Let's get through this week. Governor in chat says play Ertz with Pollard. God bless. That game's probably being faded from my player pool. But again,
I'm not
Friday
playing
night.
Ertz anywhere. I don't have Ertz in a single lineup.
No, I mean Pollard's in a really good spot. I'll say that.
Yeah, a really good spot with a really big price tag. That's the only thing when I was looking at it, man. Is I just couldn't. He's like 8K or something. It's just like I don't know how I'm going to make this work with the receivers that I want.
Yep, 3,500 with 10 targets a game for Zach Ertz.
Here's the problem with Zach Ertz is that you aren't going to get anything more than wherever the ball lands. He is a catch and fall down guy. And he ain't falling down in the end zone anymore because they can't throw it there.
Oh, boy. All right. Before we start getting into another game, we'll see you all next week for week 4. Latest, peoples.